Hey guys! So now that I kind of figured out how I can record these videos, I'm gonna try to make a lot of them. I really wanted to make one tonight, just because of like how I'm feeling right now. Um, so I know that in some of my videos I talk about all the different things that I've been going through with the awakening, and I kind of wanted to touch back on something I think I've talked about, but it seems to be coming up for me recently. I think it has to do with the stages. And so right now I I've just been noticing the duality world that we're living in. When I say duality, I'm really talking about how we are transcending into this peaceful, loving planet, but there seems to be this perceived fear-based, negative world that we're living in, and it's almost like yin and yang. It's the opposites that kind of come together to complete the whole, and that's really kind of what we're experiencing right now with this awakening. And I've actually been experiencing it a lot lately. So I've been getting some really cool messages from Source. Um, the other day, I actually wanted to write this down. Um, so one of my biggest problems is that I believe that I am trying to control what happens. I think a lot of people do this, but I'm not only trying to control what happens in my life, but when I do meditations, I'm trying to control how I'm going to feel, and I'm trying to almost control my whole experience with this awakening. But that's ego. That's actually ego stepping in and trying to make it a certain way, say that it's going to happen this way. This is step by step the process that you're going to go through. So even watching videos of other people that have gone through it, that's not what's going to happen to me. I honestly, I can use it as a guideline, but I am trying to control it because I want it to be exactly like it's supposed to be, when in fact that's actually not how it's ever going to be, because control will never actually set me free and reach my higher self. So being able to control every aspect of my life is something that I'm realizing I have to surrender. And that was the message that I was given by Source when I did a meditation the other night. I'm trying to remember the exact wording of it. It was something like, when we surrender, we give ourselves to the higher. It was something like, surrender your heart to the Source and all will be given to you. Which really makes sense, because I have honestly been trying to control every aspect of my life, my relationships, my career, my home life, my, every single thing I can possibly think of. I have probably tried to control how the outcome will be. And feeling like you're out of control is not a pleasant feeling. But that's kind of what I'm realizing we have to release. And it's not that we're going to be out of control. It's that we're surrendering to our source. And once we surrender to our source, we can actually access the inner knowledge that we have always been given. And surrendering is the best possible way to reach enlightenment. Has been proven that by many spiritual teachers that when we surrender and give our will to the divine and say, your will be done, it may seem scary at first, but that is how we access it. So, talking about this duality, so when ego hears me say these things, it has been messing with me this past couple days, because I've realized this, that the more I surrender, the closer I can get. Because I'm not only trying to control things in my life, I've tried to control the outcome of my awakening. And that's not gonna happen. And once my ego hears this, it has been pulling out its bag of tricks and trying to keep me in a fear-based level, and been really accessing deep inner fears. And I talked about that one fear that I had, well, not just one, it's honestly been probably my biggest blockage and fear of my life. The one that I did the past life regression on. And what it really came down to was the fear of abandonment. But what I've actually realized is that I had thought it was abandonment from my parents and abandonment from homes and family life and situations in my life, when actually this abandonment issue, I had just kind of made this realization for myself, that the abandonment issue itself is a big part of the awakening. Because as a light being, we realize now that we are separate from source, but we're not actually separate. It's hard to explain. I've been studying A Course in Miracles, and it talks a lot about that. It talks about the fact that we have actually separated ourselves by being in a physical body from the source, God, and at one-ment or atonement, which is realization that we are all connected and we are all one. That's a brief example of it. That's a brief explanation. But when it really comes down to it, the abandonment issue is that we are abandoned from source itself. That is the abandonment issue. That is why I'm having so much trouble with it, is because I believe that, call it what you must, God, source, whatever, God has abandoned me in this physical body. That this separation means that I am not one with the source. And I'm sorry I keep looking over there, but for some reason, my TV has just decided to go berserk and turn off and be weird. And I don't know if it's my frequency actually causing that, because I saw it like do it when I was like looking over there. Because I've noticed that sometimes technology has been acting up for me a lot. Like I know my computer is dying, my other computer that I've been recording stuff on, but it's been kind of berserk lately, and my phone like went missing today and stuff, and like I think technology is kind of like trying to like run away from me, because it's like it's telling me that I need to kind of disconnect to in order to like reconnect. But anyway, that was actually kind of cool. Um, but yeah, so I think this like abandonment issue is that this deep rooted abandonment from source when I'm not actually separate from it at all. But ego wants me to believe it, and it's doing anything in its power. It sounds really dumb, but I've been afraid of, um, I've honestly been afraid of leaving my home. Not like going to like the grocery store or anything, but like I have a trip coming up, and it's honestly giving me a lot of anxiety for some reason, leaving home and leaving this reconnecting place where I know that I can recharge my batteries and disconnect from the world, and kind of like I've created for myself here this kind of safe haven, especially being an empath, of where I can actually disconnect from the world and from like everything kind of influencing me, and I've kind of really created a safe haven in my bedroom, and it's really good, and like I'm experiencing all this like fear, like these emotions leaving it, because you know, I'm going through a lot. Like this awakening, it's exhausting sometimes. I mean, I know awakenings are supposed to be this amazing thing, but they're not. They kind of suck sometimes, and we just have to kind of accept it. And I really just feel like crap sometimes. Like honestly, some days I just don't want to like. I honestly would rather stay in my dream state than be in reality, because it's like, okay, I'm just gonna relate this for a second. If anyone's seen the movie Avatar, where he talks about going into his, which I actually need to watch that movie again, because it actually is really good for like this information. It really kind of talks about that. But in the movie, he actually goes into the world through his. It's almost like a dreamlike state. So he goes into the Avatar world, and he talked about like going through this process that when he wakes up, he just doesn't feel like it's actually the world anymore, and it's more the world than this is. And sometimes that's how I feel about my dream state. It feels more like me, and it feels like I don't have limits. Like I'm not limited like I am on this earth plane. And yeah, so that's why I've been sleeping a lot and having really, really vivid dreams lately. I think this video is going to end soon. But if you guys want to message me, please feel free. And please subscribe. All right, thank you guys. Love and light.